Right now, the conversation around boundaries often sounds like this. Tell people your boundaries and they should respect them. But that's not how boundaries work. The part most people don't want to hear is this. No one else is responsible for maintaining your boundaries. You are responsible for enforcing them. Yes, I'm going to say it again because no one wants to hear this or no one wants to acknowledge this. But we have the lip service of you're not maintaining my boundaries and boundaries and boundaries and boundaries and boundaries. Stop it. No one else is responsible for maintaining your boundaries. You're responsible for enforcing them. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the truth about boundaries and why most people are doing it wrong. Welcome to With Karen D.The Podcast, the place where we get real about one thing. Good things don't come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out and get it. Now, you know that I don't do the fluffy stuff, so we're going to jump nice and deep into talking about boundaries. We're going to talk about why boundary setting often gets so messed up and it fails and how to approach it in a way that actually works. Got it? So let's get deep in this. Have you ever set a boundary and you set it to someone, right? And then you show up again, the same thing happens, and you are so freaking pissed, and you leave the situation or you leave the interaction totally pissed, and you're pissed at them. You can't believe how dare they? Does that language sound familiar? I'm here to tell you it's not their fault. It is not their fault. You see, the biggest misconception about boundaries is that telling people your boundary is enough. Most people believe that setting a boundary is about communication or primarily about communication, and it is not. It's largely about consistency. So you can say something like, I don't answer emails after 8 p.m. That's not for me. I don't want to do it. I want to respect my time at home. I'm not getting paid for after hour work. But if you keep answering those emails after 8 o'clock or whatever time you set for yourself, my friend, that is not a boundary. It's a suggestion. People don't learn about your boundaries from what you say. Not at all. They learn from what you allow. People treat you based on what you allow. So the first shift you need to make if you are serious about your boundaries, if you want to preserve yourself, your time, your health, mental wellness, all of that, you have to stop believing that saying it once, sharing your boundary once is enough. A boundary only becomes real when your behavior consistently backs it up. We teach people how to treat us based on what we allow. It's time for us to take responsibility for that. Now, there's a big piece that I'll say 75% of the population avoids when it comes to boundaries. And it's enforcement, that enforcement piece, right? This is where it gets uncomfortable for a lot of people. Because enforcing a boundary means that there's a consequence, and not necessarily a consequence in the way that we have been socialized to think about it. It's not a punishment, but there is some type of consequence. And this is a piece that people avoid because it makes them uncomfortable, but it's necessary to help you make your boundaries real. Make sense? So if someone crosses your boundary and nothing changes and you don't do anything about it, my friend, that boundary doesn't exist at all. It's not real, right? If they do it, you don't do anything, you're teaching them that what they just did is just fine. For example, I remember working with, it was a senior manager who had a small team, and I believe she had three direct reports, and she made a decision not to have kids. So she's married with no kids, but it was a decision she made, and she made it, and like that was it. And every time holidays came around, so Easter, Christmas, New Year's, she got anxious around the holiday season because that meant she had to see her family. For her, they had family gatherings around holidays, and she was just tired of the question, from the aunties, the uncles, and family members. Well, when are you having kids? When are you having kids? And every single time that she responded to them and said, we've made a decision to not have kids. And she'd go into the why. Her and her husband made a decision. And every single holiday season, she was answering the same question over and over and over again. And here's the work we did. She said, Karen, my boundary is we've decided not to have kids, and I'm finished talking about it. I believe that I don't owe anyone a reason, a rationale why. And she said, but I keep having to answer their questions and I'm tired of it. And now I don't even want to see my family. And it sucks because that's the only time I see my mom and dad. That's what she said to me. And what I told her is I had to shine a mirror. I said, when they ask you this question, what normally happens? She says, I tell them that it's a decision that we've made and I tell them why. What I pinpointed to her is this. You've set a boundary, but you are not enforcing it. So if you don't want to talk about it, I want you to say that. And enforcement sounds like this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Got it? No long explanation, no apology, no over justifying, no asking permission. And most people avoid this because they don't want to disappoint others or create tension. But here's a fact. When you choose to avoid that short-term discomfort of saying this to people, like enforcing your boundaries, it creates long-term resentment on your part. My client no longer wanted to go to family gatherings because she always went into rationalizing why. She doesn't have to over-explain. So what she started to do was say, they've made a decision to not have children, and this is no longer up for anyone's discussion. And she stopped talking. That shifted her experience at family gatherings because now people were treating her based on what she would allow and what she enforced. We have to stop putting an emphasis on other people crossing our boundaries, especially when we don't enforce them. It's not their fault. And I'll say it. We're so quick to jump and judge and say, well, this person and my mother, my father, my aunt, my teacher, my sister, my brother, my boss, my mentor, my colleague, my blah, 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 blah is not respecting my boundaries. But the real question is, are you actually enforcing your boundaries? Because boundaries are not about controlling other people at all, not about controlling other people. They're about deciding what you will and will not participate in. It's about deciding what you will and will not tolerate, and then you following through. Got it? Now, let's talk about the language of confident boundaries. How do you communicate limits without sounding aggressive or feeling guilty? And I get it. People do both. Like some people share their boundaries and it's really harsh and there's anger behind it and there doesn't have to be. And some people are just too passive. A lot of people think they need to be softer and nicer or more detailed when they set boundaries. They don't have to be. You don't have to be. Some people have to believe that they have to, their tone has to be harsh and aggressive. It doesn't have to be that way. The way to confidently set boundaries is to make sure that you're clear, concise, direct, and neutral with your tone. Not aggressive and definitely not passive. For example, this happens. I can almost say without a question, like without any doubt, that everyone has experienced this. So stick with me for a second. Someone invites you, okay, you're at work, you're with friends, whatever. Someone invites you out on Saturday. Hey, listen, I'm going to gather some people. We're just going to come over for drinks or we're going to go out for drinks. I would love if you can make it, right? But we know that our Saturday is our rest day and we are not trying to go out for drinks anywhere. We are deciding to be at home in our comfy clothes or our house clothes, if you know, and not go out. Most people will say something like this. I'm so sorry. I can't make it. I have a lot going on. Or, Saturday is my relaxation day. But here's what you need to do. You need to be concise, direct, and stop the over explaining. Simply say, I'm not available on that date. or soften it up by using the first name. Karen, thank you so much for the invitation, but I'm not available on that date. Stop talking. You owe no one an explanation. I want you to be clear, direct, and respectful. Now, earlier I was having a conversation with two incredible human beings, and they said, well, Karen, it sounds easy. And I totally get what you're saying. But what about that family member or that person who won't take no for an answer? And I said to them, I get it. We are only responsible for how we show up in life, what we do, what we don't say, and how we act. We're not responsible for other people. So I'm not asking you to control them or get pissed at them in any capacity. What I'm saying is control yourself. So as they continue to ask and say, oh my goodness, oh, I'd really love you to come. I never see you on weekends and da 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 da. You can simply repeat yourself. Thank you so much for the invitation, Karen. I won't be able to make it on that day. When they keep going on, you can listen. You don't have to shut them down. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be aggressive. Simply say, thank you so much for the invitation, but I just won't be able to make it that day. Do not get into a back and forth with them. Clear, direct, respectful. Because here's the reality. When you start to over explain, you invite negotiation, right? That's when people will keep going deeper and deeper and asking you why and seeing if they can get you. Why don't you just come for half an hour, 45 minutes? My friends, when you're clear, you create understanding. Got it? Now, when it comes to boundaries, I believe that it's bigger than preserving your energy, right? Boundaries aren't just about that, like preserving your well-being and your energy and that type of thing. For me, because I am a confidence coach, it's truly about self-trust. Every time you set a boundary and you don't enforce it, you teach yourself that your needs are not important and other people's needs come first. And that's most important. It's not what you teach other people and what you ground in other people, it's what you ground in yourself. Now, every time you follow through and enforce your boundary, you teach yourself that you can trust yourself and that you can show up for you and that your needs are a priority, not over anyone else's, but you are a priority in your own life. And that is where real confidence is built. Not in what you say to other people, but in how you consistently honor what you've said to yourself. And that's the biggest piece when it comes down to you setting and maintaining boundaries the right way. So as a quick round off, when it comes to setting and maintaining boundaries, healthy ones where you're healthy and the people around you respect the state of being that you want to build for yourself. First one, you have to tell people more than once when it comes to your boundary. It's completely about consistency. And for some people, especially if they've been stepping over your boundary and you haven't said anything, it's going to take a bit of time, but please don't get pissed. It's up to you to maintain that consistency. Number two, that enforcement piece is super important. They will follow whatever your boundary is, not infringe on your boundary when you enforce it. It's not their fault. Stop blaming them. And the last one is this. Make sure your language when you're verbalizing your boundaries is clear, concise, direct, and the tone really neutral. My friends, this is what it looks like to create healthy boundaries for yourself. If you've had an issue, if you've known someone else who's had an issue or talked about creating boundaries with whomever in their life, make sure that you like this episode. Make sure that you turn on the notifications so you know when our next episode drops. And do the people you like and love around you a huge favor. If this is something they need to hear, make sure to share the episode as well. This is Karen D signing off.